Good evening, everybody, and good morning if you're in New Zealand, and good evening for those of you on my side of the world in this African continent. Continent, and good afternoon if you're in an area of the world that it is currently still afternoon. Welcome to the final Network Migration Services webinar on New Zealand. That's tonight, clearly, and then our last one on Australia is Monday night at 8 o'clock South African time. So tonight we're just going to be concentrating on New Zealand, and it's the last one of the year, so I'm going to sort of have a little bit of fun. I'm a little bit frustrated, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But just to get the formalities out of the way, my name is Andrew Kerr. I am a licensed immigration advisor for Australia and New Zealand. I have been involved in the immigration business now for 30-odd years. I came to South Africa in 1990, and in 1993, I had an opportunity to join Network Migration Services as a consultant. So I did, and in 1996, I had the opportunity to buy the business, so I did. I'm very proud to say that over the last 30-odd years, we've immigrated, gosh, I don't even know the numbers now, but it's well over 16,000, 17,000 families. Predominantly up until about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago or 5 years ago, was from the African continent, because this is where we're based. But with technology today, of course, we've got clients all over the world. We've got them as far away as Ireland and the UK, Canada, the Philippines, China, Vietnam, India. So it really doesn't matter, guys, where you are in the world. 95% of what we do nowadays is electronic. And with technology the way it is, Zoom, Skype, Teams, Google Meet, etc., we are able to deal with anyone irrelevant of where you're from and irrelevant of time zones. So if you are in another country and you're looking for agencies to use, clearly there will be some in your country, probably. But if not, and you want to use us, of course, then we'd be delighted and happy to assist you through this process. Thank you, Ruan, for organising tonight. As always, Ruan is our marketing head of our marketing division. Thank you, Liz. Liz is our HR manager, for joining us tonight. Liz is based in our Joburg office, also becoming a provisionally licensed immigration advisor, as we speak. She's going through the intense process of becoming a licensed advisor. It's a 3-year process, and it's a postgrad degree level. So it's hard work, especially if, of course, you're working pretty much 24/7, which is what Liz does at the moment as well. Welcome, Xenia. Xenia's quite new with our organisation. She's really come to the forefront in the last 2 or 3 months that she's been with us. And she's actually been employed by the company to assist Peter Lemmer and Sonica and the New Zealand team. And Peter and Sonica are based in New Zealand with that very all-important process of job hunting. I did put my email address in there. And if you've got clearly any questions, please just type them into the chat room. And if they're on, if it's on immigration advice, I think Desiree Lindeque, who is our provisionally licensed LIA, and our operations manager, who is also in New Zealand, I'm pretty sure she'll be able to answer those questions if I'm not looking at the question at the time. If it's on job search and that type of stuff, Liz will be able to answer the question. I'm going to talk heavily about job search tonight. And of course, if it's on anything else, I did type my email in there. It's andrew@networkmigration.com. I'm just going to make this a little bit. I've been playing around with move to the main stage. So that's me a little bit. You can see me a little bit better. I will make the slides a little bit bigger shortly. But when I'm having a conversation with you, I just wanted you to actually see me and just perhaps just listen to what I'm going to say, because, ladies and gentlemen, there are 150 odd people listening to us tonight. We take this extremely seriously. This is your life that you're changing or potentially changing. And we as an organization, we've got about 24 people that work for Network between 2 or 3 countries. And we care. We care as much as you do about making sure that if you start this process, that this process is going to be successful. And, we have 3 separate divisions. Those divisions are visas, clearly. We do all the visa work for you. We actually go the extra mile. We do a lot of extra visa work than a lot of other companies work. For example, registration work. If you need registration, we do it for you. etc. Our job search training is the best in the world, and I know that. And you can challenge me on it if you wish, but I know that our job search training and the effort we put into helping you guys find a job is outstanding. So that's one division, the visa division. Of course, the job search division is one that's run by Peter Lemmer. Peter's our New Zealand MD. Peter is actually South African. He's been in New Zealand for 7 years. I'm not sure if he's on yet. He'll let us know if he's on. Well, lo and behold, those of you who live in my part of the world know exactly what happened, and yet we have solar. I specifically came to the office in case, of course, we were load shedding at the house, and we weren't. And I came to the office to do the presentation. And, of course, at 5 minutes past 8, the light switched out. And we've got solar in this building, so gosh knows what has happened. And as you can appreciate, I'm completely in the dark here. So apologies. So somebody's going to have to, maybe Liz, you could WhatsApp me if Peter comes in. I'm not even sure so I'm just going to jump in, guys. Just once and again, thank you to all our service providers. We'll be sending you a thank you over the Christmas break. Those who support us and you guys in the journey of migrating. So I was talking about the 3 divisions. One's the visa division, which does all the visa work, and it doesn't matter what type of visa. It really doesn't. Visitors, student, business, parent, spousal, child, it really doesn't matter. We clearly have been doing this so long. There's not a visa on the planet we don't know how to do. The second division is the relocation division, of course, or the job search division, my apologies, which is run by Peter Lemmer and his team. Peter is based in New Zealand office, but has support structures with Xenia in South Africa, Sonica in New Zealand. We've got an HR division, which is run by Liz, who works very closely with Peter, of course, on the job search side. Excuse me. And then we also have the relocation division, which is run by a lady called Rose Nightingale. Rose is my life partner. And Rose helps with flights and furniture, meeting at airports and accommodation and all this type of stuff. So what I'm going to do, Liz, Liz or Ruan, you can WhatsApp me or whatever if everything's working okay. I'm just going to quickly run through. I've talked about us. We've been around 30 years, licensed advisors. By the way, if you're going to use someone, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure they're a licensed advisor. It protects you as a consumer, because when you pay a licensed advisor, your money's held in trust. And the advisor can only draw against those funds that they hold for you as and when goals are achieved through your migration process. And you might want to quote on the whole process. You might want to quote on a part of it, or please just get me over there for a visit to look for work. It doesn't matter. We will quote you on whatever you want, including full packages, half packages, or mini packages. It's really up to you. As I said earlier, I'm not going to do Australia tonight. Our last webinar for Australia is on Monday night, South African time at 8 p.m. I'm going to do New Zealand tonight. So let's jump straight in. But just coming back here to this one, that's the type of visas that we're involved in. Again, it doesn't matter. I need you to have a listen to this, please. And I'm not sure Peter's online. In fact, I'm not even sure how to invite him in, because I've only got one screen, but that's my technology and whatever. But just please have a listen to this, and then I'm just going to run through it with you.
Where no New Zealanders are available for a job, employers can hire a skilled migrant worker using the Accredited Employer Work Visa, or AEWV. Before inviting a migrant to apply for an AEWV, employers must become accredited with Immigration New Zealand and complete a job check for the role they want to fill. This means migrant workers can have more confidence about the role they are coming to New Zealand for. To gain accreditation, an employer must be a genuine business in a good financial position and have no recent history of breaching employment or immigration law or business standards. The job check confirms that the job pays the market rate, and the terms and conditions of the contract comply with New Zealand's employment standards. Before applying for a job check, employers need to advertise most roles to prove there are no New Zealand citizens or residents available for the job. After an employer's job check has been approved, you will be sent an email containing a link and a job check token.
Yes, mate.
This means you can access the online portal and apply for your visa. The application process is all done online, where you will fill in your details and upload supporting documentation. Immigration New Zealand will check if you meet the requirements for the AEWV and that you have the skills and experience the employer is seeking. Once you are employed, your employer must provide you with information to help you settle into life in New Zealand and to give you time to complete Employment New Zealand's online modules on employment rights while you are at work. The AEWV is designed to ensure only good employers can hire migrant workers and helps prevent migrant exploitation. More information about the AEWV is on our website.
Oh, guys, if you want information on the AEWV, all our information is free. I mean, it's free. We don't charge you a dime unless you engage our services. Even our assessments are free. So if you want, I'm going to try and bring Peter in a second. If you want information on the job search training only, please email Peter, P-E-T-E-R, at networkmigration.com. Because you might be using another agent at the moment and you're just not being successful. You might want to know, what's different about what we do. And what is different is we've spent a lot of time and effort, Peter specifically, into making sure this job search training is the best on the planet. And so you might just want that first, for example. If you hire Network to do the whole package, then the job search training is part and parcel, or it's built into the costs. But you might just say, well, listen, let's just start with the job search training first. And then once you've done that, clearly, you might then decide, no, I'd like to do the whole thing, or I'll go ahead and do it myself or use an agent I'm already with. So just give me a second, guys. There I am. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring Peter in. Let's hide that message. I'm just going to bring Peter in once I find him. There he is. And Peter's going to talk about the process of job training and how it actually works. That'll do. I'm going to invite you to the main stage, Peter. So again, I'm just crisscrossing between processes at the moment. So I'm assuming he'll come in. Oh, good. Desiree's here as well. So Desiree, as I mentioned, is provisionally licensed LIA. So if you've got any questions. Okay.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, mate. Yeah. We're at stage 6. I mean, Christ. And you know what's happened is Eskom, where we live, have handed over the process to City Power. City Power don't know what they're doing because I'm not talking to Eskom. So, I mean, frankly, at the moment, excuse my language, it's a shit fight. All right? So, welcome to Africa.
Well,
anyway,
welcome.
I'll leave you to talk about it with you've got power on and that beautiful painting behind you. So let's talk about how people can get New Zealand through the job training. Fire away.
Well, come to New Zealand. We have electricity. So
exactly.
Hi, everybody. Okay. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, an ex-South African, came here 7 years ago. So have experienced the whole journey and know exactly what it's all about. But I came across here to start the relocation and job search training or coaching division of Network Migration. So what we've done is built up a training and coaching system where we teach you how to market and brand yourself in New Zealand. Now, as Andrew said, in New Zealand, and this video said that you need a job offer before you can apply for a work visa. And there's that catch-22, which everybody sits in, that when you apply for jobs directly, it says, do you have the right to work in New Zealand? And you have to say no, because New Zealand's an honest country. You can't lie. It ruins your reputation. So what we help you is to teach you techniques on how to navigate the system and how to approach employers in a different way. So we've got a whole 4-pillared system which we're taking you through. And the first pillar, we do pillar 1 till 4. And the pillar 1 is search engine optimizing your social media presence via LinkedIn, Seek profiles, those kind of things. Then we help you. Then pillar 2 is we then teach you to connect and start networking with people at 5 different levels in New Zealand. Then we go through to pillar 3, which is then marketing and branding yourself. We do marketing and branding. We teach you how you can connect with the employers directly themselves as well. and try and get them to get attention to you and your profile and your skill set. We teach you how to sell yourself as well, because there's quite an art in how to get yourself noticed. And then the pillar 4 is the culture and interview training, which I think is one of the most important parts of this whole process, because the culture is 180 degrees different to what South Africa is. And you need to understand that when interviewing with employers. And then interview technique, we teach you how to answer questions. We teach you how to get your value add across to the employers. Now, our process can be done separately. So if you just want to do job search training, you can email me, peter@networkmigration.com, and we can just do the training with you. That's a separate quoted price. But then if, as Andrew said earlier, if you take our full package, it is included in the price, the visa process. And what we as a team, my team, I've got somebody in South Africa and here in New Zealand. So we've got on both sides of the world people assisting you. But what we also do is relocation advice. So I was late to this meeting because I was meeting with a previous client who's got a job offer. We're now helping them with the whole relocation journey. So we have a meeting with you before you leave. We send you checklists of how to wrap up your life in South Africa. We then also help you with setting up your life in New Zealand. We help you to teach you how to open bank accounts, get tax numbers. So we're with you on the journey all along the way. And I don't think there's any other immigration company that spends so much time and effort meeting with you face-to-face, training you on how to find that all-important job. So if you need just a quote, if you, as Andrew said, with another immigration advisor, but you still want the job search training side of things, email me and I'll quote you separately just for those services. And we throw in the relocation portion as well with those job search training only. Come to the land where there's electricity and safe.
Yeah, it's getting, I must admit, our Minister of Electricity, because we have one now, openly said 8 weeks ago, by December, we will not be load shedding at all. All right.
Oh,
not only are we not, we're 2 days away from December, but we're now in stage 6. That means 4 times, 3 or 4, I always forget, but 3 or 4 times a day, we are in the dark. And it's becoming extremely frustrating. But, anyway, let's not talk about the negatives. Let's talk about the positives. So, Peter, I'm assuming you're busy. I'm assuming you've got appointments to go to. So thank you so much, as always. I'm going to carry on talking about the job search processes and whatever, and how and what you should and shouldn't be doing in my own little way while I'm showing people the rest of the slides. So, Desiree, thank you for answering the immigration questions. You're online, so fantastic. Thank you, Desiree Lindeque, for all the support you always give. And Desiree will answer your immigration questions, because I'm not actually going to be able to see them, because I'm going to be showing you the slides now. So, Peter, if you're okay, I'll uninvite you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay, mate. I'm not quite sure how to do that in the dark, but I'm sure you can just log off.
I might just leave the meeting, yeah.
Yeah, just leave the meeting, and I'm going to go back to the other slide anyway. Where are we? Right, so guys, please send me an SMS if you can't see the slide, but I'm just going to run through what I suggest you do, ladies and gentlemen, is just take screenshots. Just take screenshots of that page. This is how the accredited employer, this is sort of the process that little video just told you about. Step 1, accredited employer gets accredited. Step 2 is the job checked by the employer. Step 3 is the visa application. We can actually do it all. Peter's helped many companies in New Zealand become accredited over the last couple of years, especially through the COVID crisis, because this is when it was announced by Labor government. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to say congratulations to the Right Honourable Erica Stanford. We are exceptionally, and I underline exceptionally, pleased that National One and she, not only has she been given the portfolio of education, which she's going to be outstanding with, because her heart is very much involved in getting New Zealand back up in the education standards. We were ranked the 2nd best in the world in education. But she's outstandingly pragmatic and direct and just, I don't even know how to describe it, just logically thinks when it comes to immigrants and their needs and desires and what they do need and how it should actually work. She was the New Zealand government was elected 6 weeks ago. Excuse me, the National were elected 6 weeks ago. It's a coalition government. I won't comment on that, but we are so pleased that Erica Stanford is Minister of Immigration, and we wish her all the very, very best in her new journey as Minister. And she has our full support, because we know that with Erica, we'll get very positive decisions based on what New Zealand needs and what you as a candidate need. So just jumping through. Okay, so when you get a job with an accredited employer, the job offer will always have a title, and that title would be able to be married up to an ANSCO code. An ANSCO code standing for Australia New Zealand Standard Classification of your occupation. And these are your requirements, minimum requirements for ANSCOs 1 to 3, which is usually your professionals. You don't necessarily need to get a qualification to be in New Zealand, by the way. You don't necessarily need one. Certainly helps if you have one, but you don't necessarily need one, because New Zealand will also allow visas to be granted, provided you meet the ANSCO code requirements of not only, of course, the job description, being doing at least 75% of what that specific ANSCO code is. I don't know, Liz, why they're minimised. Okay, so let's just get into proactive stuff here. When you earn this salary, that is a requirement for the specific job, and some jobs have different salaries, so keep in touch with us, okay? You'll be given a 5-year work visa under the current accredited employer process, and the changes that came into effect on the 9th of October. In most cases, unless you're on a contract basis, of course, and then you'll only be granted a visa for the length of the contract. But you need to know, hopefully, that you've got a residency pathway. Unless, of course, you're just going over there for a bit of an adventure and want to, travel over there and stay there for a couple of years and make some dollars, etc. And you can do that, provided you get the job offer. And I'm going to harp on that in a second. Anyway. So your residency pathway, you actually have multiple options. One is from Green List Tier 1. Designated occupations, you can see some of them there. Hopefully you've taken a screenshot or a photo of that already. If you are on Green List Tier 1, and these have already been added, as you can see, most of those are in the healthcare sector. If you're in an occupation that is on Green List Tier 1, you can actually apply for residency straight away. However, you still need the job offer. Okay, so you might think, well, I'm a dental technician. I can apply. Well, you'd need to actually get registered as a dental technician, which we can help you with. But the point is this: let's say you're an engineer. If you're on Green List Tier 1 and you're any one of these occupations, and of course you're legally able to work in New Zealand, i.e. you've done registration if it's required for your job, then you can bypass the work visa. You don't have to do a work visa. You can apply straight to residency. It's processed just as fast. It takes 3 to 6 weeks to process a work visa, and it takes 3 to 6 weeks to process residency. If you're on Green List Tier 1 and the job offer marries up to the requirements for Green List Tier 1, and of course your qualifications marry up, because if you're on Green List Tier 1, you have to have the qualification. If you don't have the qualification, you can't use Green List Tier 1. You can use the occupation, but you can't use Green List Tier 1, okay? Green List Tier 2 is the old work to residence visa under the previous government. Occupations on here, you can see mechanics, electricians, plumbers, dairy cattle managers, herds, farmers, health and social services, etc. Please take screenshots of that as well. These were added in March this year to Green List Tier 2, civil constructions, etc. By the way, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, in addition to specialist areas, etc. And these are going to be added to Green List in March 2024, like welders and fitters. They weren't on it, panel beaters, etc. I do believe hairdressers, for example, will be added to one of the Green Lists coming up, because they're not on the Green List, and hairdressers, ironically enough, are in massive demand in New Zealand at the moment. So if you're on Green List Tier 1, you can do the work visa and get the 5-year work visa, no problem. But you might say, well, I'll do that. And then when I've landed in New Zealand after 3 or 4 months and made some dollars, then I'll do my residency application. Because the difference would be, if you're doing a work visa, you don't necessarily need English, unless, of course, your registration of your job, of your occupation requires it. And you don't need a skills assessment, again, unless your job offer requires it, like an electrician or a nurse, whatever. So you can go straight to residency, provided you've sat English and been registered, or you can do the work visa and do the residency straight away. On Green List Tier 2, you're given a 5-year work visa, and you have to wait for 24 months from working with that company to be able to lodge the residency application. And clearly, we'd be with you right the way through the process. The quotes we give you are based on what we're going to be doing for you. And we quote you up to residency if it's this, because there's no point in paying us for residency up front, because we're not doing it up front. You might as well, we don't need to keep your money in our account for 2 years. You might as well keep it in your account for 2 years. So we'll quote you on getting you in and right the way through to residency. And then we're going to be handing you over to Desiree and the New Zealand team, of course, and quote you a very nominal amount to do residency for you, because we'd already have your information. All right. Roles that are exempt from the medium wage, some of the construction sectors, these will change. And we do need to change these at the top, because clearly they're now been put on Green List Tier 2. So apologies, guys. This is the last one of the year, and we're revamping our website at the moment. So this will all be changed for the next seminars and webinars. By the way, we start face-to-face seminars in Johannesburg on the first week, the 17th of January. So watch the space. We're going to have them at Bidoffs. They're very kindly going to be using their centres in Joburg, Cape Town, Durban, etc. We're going to be having free face-to-face seminars on a Saturday morning. So watch this space. They're going to be really good. We used to have them pre-COVID, and we had like between 100 and 300 people arrive. And it's great and interactive, and we'll have our service partners there, etc., etc. So I hope you've taken a screenshot of that, because they are roles that are exempt from the minimum wage of $29.66. Okay, so you've got your job offer, you've got your visas, and you now want to do residency based on the new simplified skilled migrant category, which came into effect on the 9th of October. Okay, and that's going to be based on multiple things. One, as you can see, the salaries over the years from 2018 to February 23 have increased. And I won't be able to see you, Liz, but I'm sure you guys will put it on the screen, and Des. But coming into effect as of March next year, the minimum wage, unless, of course, Erica Stanford changes it, and we don't know about that. She certainly might. And I don't think she'll put it higher. If anything, she might just wipe it. But anyway, the minimum wage is going to $31.61. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You'll need to type it into the chat room, and I can't see the chat room at the moment. So I think it's $31.61, but one of the ladies will type it in. Coming into effect as of March next year, if this stays as is, the skilled migrant wage for an application that is currently $29.66 will be changing to $31.61. I believe it is. I could be wrong, but I'm close. All right. Then you're going to need 6 points. And remember, you got 5 years. So if you have a qualification, there are your points. I mean, if you've got a doctorate, you get 6 points straight away. Now, you're sitting there with a doctorate saying, well, does that mean that I can get residency straight away? Yes, it does, provided you've got a job offer and have worked for a period of time. I know the Right Honourable Erica Stanford will look at this because as yet we don't have what that specific time period is. I'd be guessing 3 to 6 months, and then you can lodge residency. But if you've got a standard, level 7, level 8 degree, then you're going to get 3 points. Okay, so you need 6 points. Remember, if you've got a master's, it's 5, and an honours, it's 4. Then once you've worked in New Zealand for 3 years, you get another 3 points. So if you've got a master's where you're getting 5 points, then you only have to need to work into New Zealand for 12 months until you're eligible to lodge residency under the simplified skilled migrant category. If you've got an honours degree where you get 4 points for, you'd have to work for 2 years. If you've got a standard degree or postgrad, you'd need to work for 3 years. So you can see how it works if you've got a qualification. Now, you're going to get these work experience points anyway. Even if you don't have a qualification, you can still get in based on your work experience, remember, as long as it's consistent and it falls under the relevant ANSCOs and you have a pathway to residency. And clearly, once you contact me, and send me CVs or questions or whatever. And our email addresses are there. Liz, Des, you might just want to type them in again, because the initial assessment must come from myself or Desiree, because we're licensed advisors. Desiree is provisionally licensed under my supervision at the moment, but very soon in the near future she won't need that supervision. And in fact, with all due respect, Desiree is just a smart cookie, and the supervision I do with Desiree is really good, and we both learn off it. So I'm really, as you can tell, I'm ecstatic to have a person like Desiree working with the company. Anyway, and then of course, here's income points. So you might say, well, I'm a fleet manager, for example. I'm using this as an example because one of our clients has just recently got a job as a fleet manager. I think his salary is about $95,000, $96,000 a year, which is at least 2 times the minimum wage. So this particular person gets 4 points for straight up for having 2 times the minimum wage. Or it's 1.5 times the minimum wage, is $44.49 an hour. That is about $94,000 a year. So that's what he's earning. So once he's worked for 3 years, he doesn't need a qualification. He's worked for 3 years, he'll get 3 points. And because he's earning 1.5 times the minimum wage for those 3 years, he gets another 3. Hence, after 3 years, we'll be able to lodge his residency application. And clearly, the higher you're earning, the more or the faster that you can do your residency application, okay? You also get points for being licensed. And there are many, many, many jobs that require licensing. Doctors, nurses, pharmacists, electricians, plumbers. Gosh, I'll just go through a few of them. This is healthcare, of course. You're going to get 6 points straight up if you're anybody in the healthcare system. Again, dietitians, I've done a couple of dietitians in the past. They get 5 points, but they need registration with the dietitians board. So once we're registered, 5 points, work for a year, bang, the extra points. You can't claim multiple. So, for example, if you're a qualified electrician, you're on Green List Tier 2. So we would recommend you just use the Green List Tier 2 to get in. But you could actually use the point system because you'll get 3 points for your registration as an electrician, and then you've worked for 3 years, of course, and then you could claim the other. But you can't claim multiple bonus points. You can only claim one of them, like high salary or registration or, of course, qualifications. You can't mix them all together, which I'll clarify as and when you contact me. So here we go again, midwives, clinical psychologists, nurses, etc. Big demand, pharmacists, physiotherapists, social workers, teachers, vets. All of these jobs are in massive demand. And quite frankly, these are sorts of jobs that you shouldn't have a problem getting. Even if you're offshore, you've got a majorly strong chance of getting jobs offshore if you're in one of these fields. Engineers, of course. Gosh, we've got bricklayers and blocklayers there, which you can get licensed under the building practitioner scheme over there. So the bottom line is we'll get you in, but we also will stay with you and give you a residency pathway as well. And then hopefully, of course, in that 1 to 3 year window, you can use us for residency because, as I said, we'll be charging a nominal fee. You've got masters, this is shipping and yachting and chief mates and whatever. And then, of course, the relocation division is a throw-in. It's a free service. So I'm just going to try and go back to wherever I was. Stop sharing and come back to stage is empty. Where am I? You can't see anything now. Move to stage left, focus, solo. There's me. If you can't see me, please, I'm now seeing the type-ins, guys. So can you still see me? Just somebody type yes, please. If you can, because I just wanted to harp on one thing. Clearly tonight's been a little bit of an SHIT fight because of power and lack of power, etc. Thanks, Wesley. Thanks, Ron. There are 3 reasons an application to New Zealand will fail. Thanks, Charlemagne. Thanks, Rushan. Thanks, Christoph. Okay, so there are 3 reasons this will fail. You fail the medical. So if there's a medical condition, most medical conditions are covered and medication or whatever can maintain most medical conditions. So, but if you have a medical condition that you're worried about, please tell me about it. Everything that you're going to talk about with me is private and it's kept private. You're covered by the Privacy Act. I'm a licensed advisor. We're not allowed to share your information with anyone unless you specifically tell us we can. That's one reason you'd fail. The second reason is having a major criminal record. And I underline major because, I mean, guys, we've all had speeding tickets. You know, gosh, I spent a night in jail once in Australia because I hadn't paid my bloody parking tickets once when I was 30 years ago. And because I hadn't paid them, it was a Friday night. They put me in jail overnight, of course. And then I paid them the next morning when I was able to draw cash from the bank. The point is, I was arrested. So if I was immigrating, I have to declare that. It was one night. It was a minor issue, but you have to declare it. Minor issues like those are never, ever going to stop you immigrating. But you need to declare it. And you need to, even if you're going through the process of getting them annulled, or not annulled, you know what I'm talking about, you still have to declare it, because I promise you they'll find out. And if they find out and you haven't declared it, I mean, the question, have you ever been arrested and charged with a crime? Yes, I have. You know, we've had minor offences through our career, and, you know, I won't go into them, but, and also they are kept private. And I'm not wishing to make this a joke, but if your current spouse doesn't know you have a minor criminal record, I need to know. So you need to tell me about it, okay? And then, of course, the last reason you'll fail is you don't get a job offer. So let's talk about this. Would you hire someone you've never met? I have. I have one of our colleagues who's outstanding, Samantha. She's been with us God knows how long, probably a year now, I'd be guessing. But she's brilliant, and I've never met her. I've never met her face-to-face, excuse me. With technology, of course, I can meet Sam any time of the day or night. But the issue is this. A lot of it will be dependent on what your job is. So do I necessarily need to meet the plumber? Do you need to come to work in a suit and tie? No. Samantha, that would depend on what it is. Des will answer you, I'm sure, Samantha, but that would depend on what it is. You just need to let us know what it is, please. Not in an open forum like this, please, Samantha. Just send us a private email, and I'm sure Des will answer you. But whenever I do I've been doing these for 30 years, guys. I always say at the very beginning, and I didn't tonight because I ran out of power, is if you are not prepared to travel to New Zealand to find work, then don't start this process. And you're thinking, well, my mate got a job. He didn't go. I've heard of a friend down the road getting a job, and I know people in New Zealand that have got jobs. They didn't go. Then yippee-yay. Because clearly, with the job search training we do, with the amount of input we give you, with the companies that we tell you should be sending CVs to, with we write your CVs, we do your LinkedIn profiles, we introduce you to the accredited employers. Peter's already talked about the 4-pillar method of job search training. It's brilliant, and it works, and we know it works. During the COVID crisis, the only people that got in were healthcare workers. But what a lot of people don't know is New Zealand opened its borders in March last year for anybody earning $84,000 and above. Now, they didn't open the borders for general travel, but if you got a job offer at $84,000 or above, then you were able to lodge an application and be accepted. And all of a sudden, by the end of March, I think we had something like 27 job offers for our clients. By the end of April, we had 76. By August, we had over 100. And not one of these clients had been to New Zealand. So clearly the companies in New Zealand were desperate enough to hire them on a visual without meeting them and shaking your hand and sitting you down and having a cup of coffee, etc. All right. And by the end of the year, we had over 150 of our clients get job offers electronically. However, we don't have COVID anymore. That's a stupid statement. Of course we have COVID, but we don't have lockdowns. Thank God, and I hope we never will anymore. And COVID is not restricting people's travel, and of course, unless you've got it. New Zealand doesn't even require you to have vaccinations now. So COVID was good that it forced companies to use technology, but it's done a bit of a flip-flop since March this year that we've noticed, is it's going back to most companies want to meet the candidate. Yes, if you're an early childhood teacher, we're probably going to get you job offers on Monday. Yes, if you're a diesel mechanic, we're probably going to get you job offers on Monday. If you're a hairdresser, same thing. There are certain occupations that is relatively easy or easier to get a job offer whilst you're offshore. Okay? But remember the 3 reasons this will fail: health, criminal record, or you don't get a job. So if you say to yourself, okay, if we take on network migration and we work with network migration over 1, 2, or 3 months and we get a job, then yippee yay, we love everybody, everybody's ecstatic, we're there, we're working, and off we go towards our residency process. But if we don't, I am going to be saying to you, I told you at the beginning that you might have to fly to New Zealand to go for the job, for the interviews. I want you in New Zealand. We'll do a visitor's visa. It's part of our service. We will do it for you. It's usually valid for 12 months. It is at INZ's discretion. But in other words, you've got 12 months to use it. It allows you to enter New Zealand and stay for up to 6 months on not working on that visa, but you can job hunt on that visa. And then when you get the job offer, remember, it only takes 3 to 6 weeks to switch that job offer to a work visa. So you don't even have to come home. You can stay there. And then your family can fly in after you and join you at whatever given time you want them to join you. You can put them on the same application for the work visa and you're approved at roughly the same time. And if that's the case, they've got 4 months to join you. But you can say, well, listen, I'll go for the first 6 months. I'll get everything set up. And then, you know, my lovely spouse and children, you guys will come over at the end of the year or when this term finishes or whatever. So you can manage that process. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to commit to this, remember, you were going to fly to New Zealand anyway. So it's not as though you're going to have to fly twice. You'd fly over to find the job, get the job, and stay. In 2019, we hadn't had COVID yet. We had 242 of our clients fly to New Zealand to find jobs. 2 failed. Everyone else got a job. You're going to a country where Peter Jokes has got power, does, but it also has unemployment of under 4%. Under 4%. One job we've always found difficult to get offshore is accountants. And yet if you look on Seek, which is a search engine worldwide, there's 3,000 positions for accountants on one website at the moment. But 9 times out of 10, accountants need to fly to New Zealand to get work. Graphic designers, for some reason, don't get jobs offshore or very rarely get jobs offshore. But statistically, and I wrote this down earlier because I wanted to show you, but I can't read it because it's dark. Since August last year, since the borders opened, we've had an average of between 5 to 15 people a month in New Zealand. So if it was 5 people a month, that's 75 people that have travelled to New Zealand in the last 15 months. If it's clearly 10 a month, it's 150 people, and it's 15 a month, it's been 300. And I can count on less than one hand. In fact, I think it's about 3 people. And clearly we'll continue to work with these 3 people because, you know, they've been there and it did not succeed. But when you come to numbers, and you, even if you took the lowest number, out of 75 people, less than 5 have travelled to New Zealand in the last year and been unsuccessful finding work. So think about it. And that's why the effort you put into the job search training up front and the introduction to the job market up front is extremely important. And that's why Peter's job search training is essential to all of you. Whether you go on and then hire Network to do, of course, the other parts of it, the visa parts, whatever, we hope you do, because we'd like to be holding your hand through this entire journey. Ladies and gentlemen, you can tell I'm passionate about what I do. I mean, we are brokenhearted if people don't get work. We cry with our families. You know, if we're emotional, we're there with you. We take this as seriously as you do. And I'm not just saying that. That's just a sales line. You can ask anybody that deals with Network, or 99% of them anyway, because we're a service industry. I'm sure we've pissed a person off every now and then. But if, you know, on that subject, if we have an issue with a client, we'll fix that issue, you know. And if we can't fix it to the client's satisfaction, then we'll refund the client what's left in their client account, and we'll wish them all the best and shake their hand, and they can go off and do another agent and do it themselves. Thankfully, we've had that happen. Out of 17,000 odd families, I've had that happen less than 5 times in my entire career. So we take this as seriously as you do. I want you to know that. Please, even if you don't use us, liaise with us. I'm happy to give you all this information, but just, take this away. If you're going to be successful in this and you commit to the job search process, meaning that you just might have to travel there sometime next year, then there's no way this will fail. If you commit and you work with us and allow us to hold your hand through this entire process. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the ups and downs and the ins and outs and the darkness and whatever. I'm going to shut down now. And of course, when I shut my computer off, thank God modern cell phones have lights on them, because I'm in pitch black here. But thank you, Desiree, once again. Thank you, Xenia. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Rowan. Thank you to my team. You never cease to make me proud to be your manager. You never cease to amaze me at your commitment to not only the company, but of course the clients that the company works for. So thank you, everybody, tonight. Thank you for joining us, the people that have joined us. And remember, all our emails are our first names at networkmigration.com. So you can see Desiree's there at networkmigration.com. Mine is Andrew at networkmigration.com. Peter's is Peter at networkmigration.com. So it's not rocket science. Guys, we look forward to giving you the information. We clearly look forward to working with you if you engage our services. Please have a fantastic night or day wherever you are. Stay safe. And please, I don't know what to say anymore because it's dark, but thank you for listening to us, and thank you for putting up with the hiccups we had with the presentation tonight. Stay safe, everybody. Good night.